Technical difficulties?
Technical difficulties? You don't say. Fuck Mac.
It actually happened more than once.
Yes, it happened 3 bloody times, and it might happen again, which is why I'm carefully watching this, but let's continue our conversation about Child of Light, I guess.
Yeah, Child of Light.
I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
I thought it was okay, but, I didn't play it enough, and I don't like star ratings, as you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I legitimately will try and nominate it for Best Soundtrack of the Year to GameStats.com's Annual Game of the Year Awards, produced by me. So watch them.
Yeah.
So I can make more good videos for you lovely viewers.
Anyways,
what were we talking about before this damn thing interrupted us again?
I was about to mention, and this is going to be like my third time actually saying this, so it's well rehearsed.
Yeah.
I honestly think that most games that utilize turn-based combat mechanics are just it's an outdated system. I feel like it is. A lot of the times, they try to be innovative, but they still stick to the main concept, which is just I don't know how else to explain it. You can see it really strongly in Square Enix, where they keep trying to change what isn't broken, and they keep trying to innovate, but they make it too complex, and it's just it's not needed. It's meaningless complexity, and it's one of the reasons why it just the Final Fantasy games just feel so stale now, and that's kind of the feeling I had with Child of Light. Like I like the approach that they got there, but it feels so weird to me now when a game, it's a really nice looking game. It plays real nice, the sort of platforming is good, and then suddenly you're jarred into some sort of like static, turn-based combat out of nowhere, and it's weird to see one praying mantis on your screen, and then you touch it, and then suddenly there's five. It's weird.
It was legitimately it was off-putting.
It made sense back in the day, I think, when there were limitations, you had things representing other things, that was one of the biggest things with games was that they had the ability to deal with their limitations in certain ways. And now we don't have those limitations, but we keep trying to push the same game techniques, and it's like I said before we got interrupted again.
Yeah. Damn logic. Suddenly pausing for no reason. But I played the first Final Fantasy, the Dawn of Souls version on the Game Boy Advance, and there's something primeval about it that still works. That whole turn-based combat mechanics system, maybe it's because of the sheer simplicity.
Because it is very simple, and it's not trying to add, what was the Crystarium or whatever it was called in that awful Final Fantasy game.
Final Fantasy 13, I think, had all those, what was it?
Painful.
Those job systems where you could switch during battles, and you could switch whole wardrobes. It was like, what the paradigm system? The paradigm shift.
Yeah, it was so unnecessary, and it really feels like they're trapped in the 90s, or they're trapped in the old days where turn-based combat was the thing. I just feel like it's really hurting them, and I feel like it hurt Child of Light, personally.
Yeah. Just so we got this, sick. He just got on the wheel for the power of the sun. Okay, there. Now I can actually do professional stuff with this. Anyways,
cool.
So, one of the things that got cut off the first time we got interrupted by the friggin' Logic Pro X on my MacBook Pro.
No advertising, we swear.
It's actually disparaging because this legitimately is the first time it's happened to me, and it's infuriating because I had a lot of passion put into that rant that I made.
I had a rant too.
Yeah. So we'll start with mine.
Well,
because you have more to say.
Well, what about like just that huge list of games that you have, all those classic games?
Oh yeah, I do want to do eventually. I want to start doing some classic titles on this series and on Why Haven't I Played?
Because a lot of the stuff is. Yeah, like you said, you haven't played it. You never played Nintendo when you were a kid.
Yeah, I didn't grow up on Nintendo. I grew up on PlayStation, original Xbox, and from there the Xbox 360.
What PlayStation games did you...
Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor.
The very first Medal of Honor, which weirdly holds up kind of today.
Yeah.
The Medal of Honor series, Siphon Filter, I remember that with great fondness.
Oh, I remember Siphon Filter. What about, did you ever play Crash Bandicoot Warped?
No, Crash Bash. That was the one I played with passion. That was a fun game.
Underrated.
Yes.
Very
You said yourself that you thought it was better than the
better,
other Mario
better
Party
than
games.
any Mario Party that is not Mario Party 2 or Mario Party 3.
And then I grew up on the Spyro series.
Yeah, Spyro.
But here's the thing: I didn't play past Spyro 2: Ripto's Rage on the PlayStation.
You never played Age of the Dragon? Or
Year
Dawn of the Dragon?
Year of the Dragon.
Year of the Dragon.
Year of the Dragon, because I thought the Rhinox were ridiculous fucking bullshit. Like just more enemies added to the series just for the sake of enemies. It's like Spyro doesn't need like a recurring antagonist throughout the series.
Well, it was the Norks in the first one.
Yeah, but they were
what
for
if the Norks came back? Oh, they did for one of the bad GameCube ones, I think.
Actually, I remember playing some of the Spyro ones on the Game Boy Advance. The Season of Fire, Season of Ice. Those were actually legitimately good games too.
Okay, yeah, I remember those nicely. I don't know if they would hold up. That's something about
they have isometric viewpoints. So no, they don't.
It's weird.
That's the weird thing about isometric viewpoints. It doesn't hold up whatsoever. Even Transistor this year, I suspect will age terribly because of the isometric viewpoint. Because it's a matter of kinetics. It's like in a kind of like over the shoulder kind of third person camera like this maybe.
I think it depends on the style of the game.
You have more control.
One of my guilty pleasures is the Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. And I know I just literally had a spiel about how turn-based combat is awful, but when you have a whole shitload of units and it's almost like playing chess. I'm a real big fan of the Tactics Advanced games.
Yeah, Advance Wars 2 I grew up on.
Yeah.
That game has aged because I figured out all the AI tricks. So it's I can't go back to that game and play it anymore.
Yeah. Well, something I've always wanted to do is just to take a month off and play all of the old games.
This is exactly what we were talking about during this one.
Yeah.
And then we switched to Jared Pro.
Yeah, I'm not...
Yeah, we'll continue with this.
Yeah. Okay. All I'm saying is that it would be great to play all of those nostalgic games that I played as a kid. Just binge them. I think that would be awesome. And, I tried it once, but I only did it for, I think, a week. Or two.
You'd be surprised how short those classic games are.
Oh yeah, I know. That's exactly like I got through so many of them, whereas I remember playing these games for years when I was a kid. Yeah. And they're not as hard as I remember. A lot of them, and a lot of them have not aged well.
No, it's like they had limitations to work with, so they couldn't make as big game worlds. Obviously, a lot of them. Yeah. Some of them could. Some of them could make absolutely huge universes, but they had to work within limitations, and consequently, their gameplay was probably shit, right?
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes.
But there are a lot of classic games that hold up really well. There are probably some games. I remember Super Mario Brothers holds up better than 99.9% games today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still fire that.
Like the NES, it's just fucking brick resolution, and it holds up better than anything today. Really, I can think of like 6 games that better it, and that's only because it's my personal opinions in that subject. So I think before we got interrupted, the Child of Light thing revolved around the score system still, and how we thought critics were still kind of kind of silly in certain aspects. So here's my rant, and I shall begin it now. Don't hate for hating's sake. Okay? If you're a critic, do not hate a game just for the purpose of hating it, or hate an aspect of the game just for the purpose of hating it. You gotta be able to defend your opinion on the game with clarity.
It actually has to be relevant to the game.
Yes, it has to be relevant to the game. So here was the basis of my rant. There was one review I watched of Beyond Two Souls. It was by 1 Minute Gamer, 1 Minute Game Reviewer. Pro Jared is his YouTube channel. And basically at the end of the review he said, well, if there's one good thing about this game is that you can look at Ellen Page in the shower. She looks like a boy.
Yeah. Also, to interrupt your rant for a second, what does that imply?
Yeah.
If he says that was the one good part of the game, that she looks like a boy in the shower?
Yeah. Does he secretly crave?
Was he making a joke though?
No. In the context of the review, he was dead serious.
I haven't seen the video, so that sounds like something that would be a joke, but
no. The way he was saying it, he totally he was at beyond the point of actually finding anything funny to do in that video.
Right.
So, and the funny thing is, it wasn't even Ellen Page's body he was making fun of.
Yeah, no. Well, would that be a critique on the art then? I mean, if it's not Ellen Page's body because an artist did it, right? Is that what he's making fun of?
But at the same time, he's still implying that it's about Ellen Page herself.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself when I'm watching that review, what the fuck does that have to do with the game?
Right.
Like,
okay.
really, beyond one little art visual kind of element,
Yeah.
what does that have to do with the game?
Okay, if he worded it differently, if he did word it as a joke, would that be okay? Like what?
Yahtzee Croshaw, and we did jump into this exactly at this point actually. Yahtzee Croshaw frames himself as a satirical reviewer, and he makes lots of comments like that, but he defends his opinions and he backs them up, and he doesn't make them for stupid, supercilious reasons. He does try and fit them in within jokes.
Yeah,
but
he usually has a lot of inappropriate humor as well.
Yes, that's his thing. But he frames himself as that. Joe, whatever his fucking name is, 1 minute reviewer, frames himself as a serious reviewer, kind of like fanboyish at the same time. But he frames himself as a more serious reviewer.
So you think it was just like fishing for views, or just completely?
I got really angry at this point, viewers. Just so you know, so I will try and replicate that rage.
Nah, don't bother.
Nah. Yeah, it was tiring. But
they get the point. We already said all this stuff.
But Pro Jared, like, come on. You want critics, you want games to be taken seriously. You have to be harsh on games, but don't be harsh just for harshness' sake. Like, don't find something to say about a game like that. Like, she looks like a boy. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, seriously, what the fuck are you doing? You're a critic. Act professional. These are not your buddies. Be harsh on the game, yes. But act professional about it.
The game designers are not your buddies.
Critique the game. Critique the game. Okay? I forget where I was going with this, but
that's pretty much you basically said that.
I guess this leaves time for other things, but basically the gist of it is like we were trying to talk about how game reviews had all these insanely high scores on Metacritic, right? Compared to film and stuff.
Reviews,
it's like you have to be harsh on games, but for God's sakes, be harsh where you can actually defend your harshness.
People love to, just hating on things is kind of like the new, it's cynical. It's cool. It's fun to be cynical, and people don't understand that. A lot of the times, like cynicism,
cynicism is supposed to promote awareness.
Cynicism is appropriate sometimes, but you got to do it in a certain way, and doing it like that is. I immediately stopped watching his YouTube channel. Like, I'll just tell you flat out, I lost respect for that guy as a critic because he was just. It was a personal attack on Ellen Page. He really likes Ellen Page. Guys.
No. I do like her. She's a great actress, but the thing is, like, he was attacking her for looking like that, as opposed to the game. It had nothing. His criticism of her body had nothing to do with the fucking game, and that's what pissed me off. Be professional, critics.
Yeah.
You have to be harsh as well. These are not your buddies. You're not going to be a game designer someday. If you be nice to these people, you're not going to be working with them. Be as harsh as possible. And you gotta make our profession relevant. You have to hold games accountable for bad decisions and not just say, "Oh, this game has so and so glitches. It looks like shit. 9 out of 10." Like, fuck you. Yeah. It's like Didn't you point out earlier that there was that one review site that had an 11 out of 10 for one game?
Yes, I know. I went through this. I know this wasn't cut off.
Yeah,
the 11 out of 10. What was that? It's just.
In order for the profession to be taken seriously, you have to take it seriously yourself. We have a model. We have film critics to look at in terms of the model of how we should behave as critics. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not that hard, people. Just have opinions, but be able to defend your opinions. Don't just hate for hating's sake. There. Rant over. Fucking done. I'm done.
The internet hate machine, man.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the internet hate machine.
Yeah, I know I wouldn't change things. I wish my original rant had recorded before we got interrupted. Fuck.
Nah, you did a better job this time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like that fish just bouncing around.
Yeah.
I like it. Kind of like ambient physics. Ambient just happening in the background. I've always liked that.
Okay, so we're going to move fast through this next piece of news. Casey Hudson left BioWare. No one cares.
No,
Go on to the console exclusive.
No.
Because I think he had better points to make about the console exclusive.
The console exclusive.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's the gist, viewers. Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider has been confirmed as an Xbone exclusive.
Yeah.
Exclusive, not timed exclusive to the Xbox console.
Yeah.
And he had some nasty things to say about that.
Not particularly nasty. It's just a dick thing to do. It's maybe competitively, maybe business-wise, it's a savvy decision, but it doesn't benefit, to ask you the question.
We had a very heated argument about this, viewers.
Who does this benefit minus Microsoft?
It benefits maybe Square Enix if they benefit from higher sales as a result of concentration on the Xbox One.
But it's been shown financially that they
were disappointed.
Extra sales across two consoles would
be better. So why was The Last of Us exclusive to the PlayStation 3 then?
Because they own the IP. There's a difference between owning the IP and owning the game, and Microsoft does not own the Tomb Raider IP.
But they bought the rights to it.
But they bought the rights to the game.
Yes, they bought the rights to the game. So why not just?
It's buying people who own the PS3 out of their game. out of the chance. A lot of people won't have the chance to buy the Xbox One.
Well,
they just won't financially have the ability to get it.
Of course, here's the counter argument that I laid out.
And wait, let me finish. And Microsoft has basically told these people that they can't have their game. I know. Okay, fine, whatever.
He's counter arguing my counter argument.
Yeah. You can just we'll just go buy a PlayStation and an Xbox. It doesn't work that way for a lot of people. The same reason why people don't have PCs, high-end PCs, is because it just costs too much.
Yes, I do see that point, and I tried to play devil's advocate during this heated argument that we had, quote unquote. I guess I should stop saying that because I'm hyping this thing to be up more than it was. Right?
Yeah. No, it wasn't that significant. But anyways, go on.
I played the devil's advocate, and I essentially agree with Microsoft's position. They're hurting. They needed something that would get people to the system. No matter how much it dicks over the consumers, I have to understand it from a business point of view. And if you like the Xbox, you're thinking this is kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing for the people who own the PlayStation, but Xbox owners don't get to play, let's say, Uncharted or The Last of Us, and they're not the worse off for it, I would argue, because, well, they just don't get to experience it, period. Like, someone who doesn't buy a Wii doesn't get to experience the Nintendo IPs.
Yeah, but
and Nintendo, didn't they have the rights to, they had the rights to the GoldenEye game, and then they bought the rights to the GoldenEye.
Well, they owned Rare.
Yes.
And Rare
didn't own the IP. So it was an exclusive to Nintendo.
Right.
So would you argue, in the case of that classic game, that was a bad thing?
The whole thing was there was never a prequel that, there were James Bond games. I don't remember any of them being as famous or as popular as GoldenEye.
There was one license, it was basically it was a different game, but they just slapped James Bond's name on it.
Yeah, I don't ever recall Rare working on a James Bond game that was also on the PlayStation 1. And then Nintendo buying the rights to GoldenEye.
Yeah, well.
There's already a prequel out, and it's on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. Yeah. And now they're coming up with the sequel, which is going to be an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, well, business is as business does, and Microsoft is hurting.
That's not an excuse to
dick over?
To dick over a bunch of people.
It's tomato... You just gotta cope sometimes with these sort of things. This is the game industry at a glance. It's flawed.
Okay, well, here's the other argument, and I also believe this is maybe even a stronger argument besides just don't be a dick. It's as a whole, how does this benefit the rest of the industry? How does it creatively benefit any competition besides just financial competition? So basically, hypothetical situation right here. Tomb Raider is bought. Tomb Raider's bought.
I do have a thing to point out.
Okay, let me continue. So, would it be better for Microsoft to buy Tomb Raider as an exclusive, or would it have been better and less, lead to less stagnation if instead of doing that, Microsoft directly competed with Sony by coming out with new IPs?
But here's the thing that I just realized: Sony has Uncharted, which is basically a male Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah.
So there is a creative thing you can draw out of this, which means that Sony now has to create a great Uncharted game in order to compete with Microsoft.
I feel like it would always be better and more beneficial to everybody, including Microsoft. Maybe they would have to take a risk. God forbid they take a risk. But maybe
They did take a risk and it backfired. Remember,
it would
connect.
Be, no, for a game.
Okay.
Yeah, I just believe it would be better for everybody if instead of grabbing things and basically making things exclusive, they would create new things. Just they would actually have to compete.
Well, they did have Titanfall. They're doing Sunset Overdrive. They are coming up with new stuff. It's just taking a while to get out because the Xbox One is a more powerful piece of hardware than the Xbox 360 was.
Yeah.
So they're still working out the kinks for a lot of that stuff.
And besides all these counterpoints, it's annoying to see the fanboyism come out of this stuff. To be honest, that's one of the things that annoys me the most. Is
it connects with that critic argument I said, don't hate for hating's sake.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. It just brings the whole industry down.
Anyone who quotes these console specs and think that it actually matters, like it honestly doesn't. The only thing I can kind of see mattering, of course, because PC people bring it up a lot, is resolution and frame rate.
Frame rate's the big one.
And people bring up this as
yeah, what's a DirectX 11 effect really going to have on the game, really? Like, your toilet water is much more vibrant.
Yeah.
But it's like the Borderlands 2 thing.
People saying, the Xbox One doesn't support this or that resolution, or the PS4 has this or that hardware inside of it.
Beyond a certain point, it doesn't matter. Right?
No, absolutely, it doesn't matter because a lot of times these cross-platform games have to run equally on both consoles, and that's just the end of it. Like maybe you're gonna get a 24 frame rate cap on the Xbox One, but that's literally the only difference. And performance wise, they're gonna be the same game. It's gonna be
24 is on the barest edge of playable. It's still playable. Yeah. I mean, Dark Souls 2 is 24 frames.
Here's the thing. It would be better. It would be more rational to prefer a console if there were the sort of cross-platform exclusives like there were in Super Nintendo Genesis days, where it was the same game, like Aladdin, but they were different. They're actually different games.
They were differently designed games.
So
it's like the gulf between Wii games and Xbox 360 games.
Yeah. So if Call of Duty was different on literally a different game on the PlayStation than it was on the Xbox, and the Xbox version was just worse.
Well, that's kind of the thing with exclusive DLC.
So many games. First of all, so many games. It's not like Microsoft makes all of the games exclusively. They have studios that they sign deals with for these games, and they just. A lot of the people who make these games are the same people who make games that are exclusive on other consoles. Mm-hmm. A lot of these studios are just kind of even midpoints, and it's weird to see people just like, oh man, everything on Sony is shit. Everything on Microsoft is great. It's like, well, a lot of the same people making these games worked on both. So what are you talking about?
Well, the only point I have to make is that, like I said earlier, the consoles have to survive somehow, and they have to gain whatever small edge, however tiny or insignificant, over their competition. So having Tomb Raider is going to put some asses in the Xbox One's corner.
I don't think it's a killer IP to do that, though.
I do. The new Tomb Raider was legitimately good, even near great game. I would argue it was a great game. And just like Halo was for the original Xbox, I believe there is still the potential for a killer app to happen, just like The Last of Us.
Yeah, but Halo was also a release game. The original Halo was really early on.
Near release, yes. And it held up better than almost the entirety of the Xbox's catalog.
Yeah. But the thing is, they should have been on this. They should have been concerned about having good games when they released the goddamn console.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, the Xbox 360 initially released a year ahead of all of its competition.
Yeah.
And that was a very, very slight advantage in the end. In the end, I think PS3 caught up in sales, overall, but I would find it hard to argue that they won the generation. I think the Xbox 360 came closest of any of the consoles to winning the generation in terms of the quality of the games. I mean, the Wii outsold the Xbox 360 and the PS3 combined.
I would say creatively, the Wii also outshone the Xbox 360 and the PS3.
Really? Because all I can think of for the Wii in terms of classic games is Super Mario Galaxy and maybe one of the Smash Brothers games.
Well, not talking about just exclusives, right? Like, yeah, the library of the Wii was pretty weak, but look what it did for the audience. Like, look how broad of an audience the Wii attracted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would not have happened if it was just a race between the Xbox 360 and the PS3.
I guess.
A lot of people underestimate what the Wii actually did for gaming culture as a whole. It made it so much more accessible, and you can see that in the sales of the system.
Can you see that this guy should logically have died?
Because he got hit by a boat? Or
No, because he's in the middle of the fucking ocean. And it's storming out.
Yeah.
And all he has is a life preserver.
They're like totally inconsiderate.
Yeah. This is actually a pretty touching moment. I know I touched on this before, but their relationship in this game is actually the most believable part about it. It gives it a human heart, I believe. And this track is the best in the game, too. And why is he going away from the ship? It's standing stock still.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, you know.
He's really motoring along, isn't he?
Yeah.
So there's our two rants, mercifully cut short by the fact that we exhausted our line of thought on them.
Yeah. I don't know, I think we were a little more ready on the point counterpoint there.
I guess, yes.
But, yeah. Yeah.
I, for one, understand why console exclusives are necessary. I agree that they are dickish to the industry and to consumers,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's like you can't have one without the other, you know? You can't have an industry without there being competitors within it.
Yeah, but there's different ways to compete. That's
Yeah,
all
I know,
and
but
some are more healthy than others.
What point was I harping on about? It was like, I'm trying to remember. It was like, what benefits does so-and-so have over this? And it was like, oh, whatever. We're done with this argument. Let's get back to the game. This is the most bullshit part of the game right here.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you have to press the trigger and get the legs all the way up to his body. And you can see right there, I got it 99.9% of the way up and released, and it just moved an inch. And when you're being chased by a shark,
like now,
which
comes out of nowhere, you just instantly die.
It's
Dude,
like,
oh God.
Wait, this shark doesn't notice any other fish in the aquarium? Fuck you, game. It's the most bullshit part of the game, because it gamifies the game. You know what I mean?
Right. I guess.
It just turns it into an arcade. Like, instead of like this sandbox kind of like screw-up experience, is its strength.
Yeah, it does feel really out of place, eh?
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Oh. Alright, so what can we talk about now?
I don't know, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ, come on, man. We have... Okay.
This game, like I said before, it's okay.
Ouch,
But
my
it's
back.
too long.
Oh, my back has been screwed up for the... Oh, here's the shark again. It's a hammerhead. Do you know what breed of shark it is, viewers? Let us know in the comments.
You just said it's a
No, I mean... Oh, never mind. Damn it. I'm dizzy right now, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, it's not. Okay, let's find a topic.
Casey Hudson left BioWare.
Okay, fine, we'll talk about that. Casey Hudson left BioWare.
I like Casey Hudson.
Yeah, he does have a place in my gaming heart because he helped deliver the Mass Effect experience.
Yeah, and I can't believe Mass Effect 3's endings are still
being talked
they're
about.
still topical. They're still topical. I still see them pop up. And, a lot of people got over them, but some people are just being drama llamas about it. And
It's like, you ruined the entire experience.
Oh, I'm never going to buy a BioWare game again. I even saw people blaming Casey Hudson for the ending of okay,
Eventually, all the details of the encounter will come out because it's a great series that will be heavily documented because it's important. Its greatness is literally important to the history of the industry.
I think so.
Because it spurred storytelling as a driving force of game design.
I personally can't wait for Mass Effect 4. I'm excited to see the departure that they're gonna make from just the Shepard story.
Yeah.
But anyways, Casey Hudson. I mean, the guy worked on Knights of the Old Republic and all all the
When all
classic
is said
BioWare
and done, I think we're going to remember BioWare as one of the important developers of this generation.
Hopefully, if EA doesn't tarnish their reputation a little more than it has to. Actually, have you seen the Dragon Age Inquisition?
No, I have not. Tell me about
it.
it.
It looks gorgeous. I'm actually very impressed with what it looks like, and to be honest, like, I don't want to be a knee-jerk conspiracy theorist here and say, oh, all the faults of what BioWare's done is because of EA, and Casey Hudson. I actually saw someone else who was a game designer at BioWare just recently leave on to go on their own personal projects as well. Like,
do you know the name of them?
They were on Reddit though. They did an AMA, and they left just. It must have been last month, and now Casey Hudson's doing that too. I don't want to be like.
Well, the two founders are gone. Like the two doctors who have found BioWare.
Yeah,
they left like a year or so ago.
Quite a while ago, and
I think it was after the Mass Effect 3 fiasco.
Yeah, and a few of the writers left as well. What's her face got death threats? I remember that was ridiculous.
Fanboyism. Fuck you.
People need to learn how the industry works. Like,
people
honestly,
need to learn how to communicate better, other than just shouting death threats at people for making a piece of art that you don't have to enjoy.
Keep dying here, man.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, this part is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because the controls for this instance of the game are laughingly.
People just need to do their research and figure out how the industry actually works, because they don't know. They honestly don't know.
Yeah.
And that's a part of the big problem is so much misinformation. There's so much knee-jerk reaction.
I'm glad we're finally getting to the point though. I'm just gonna cut that off right there because we're gonna get into a deep hole.
I'm done.
Yeah. It's we're finally getting to the point where the games themselves are being deconstructed now. Are starting to get deconstructed to the point where people are analyzing them, in an academic kind of way. And I know that can get boring sometimes. I mean, there are some people out there who don't know how to write an entertaining piece of thing or at least an interesting piece to save their life. But some people actually do write some thoughtful stuff. There are lots of video game bloggers out there now that know what they're talking about and that can actually write insightfully about the processes of game design, what they mean in the context of the game. And
as this stuff gets more ingrained into popular culture, it's going to be it's just going to be like how movies are. Everybody's everybody's much more well versed in how it works. Actually, people still don't know how the movie industry works. Let me just tell you that. I don't know if that's actually going to change, but I really wish people would do their research.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, the communication problem is the problem.
Yeah.
People need to find it within themselves to try and find out more about the world, not just stay within their enclosed little bubble. It's fine if you want to enjoy your life with simple things. Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah, that's fine.
But to just stay in that simple little bubble and expect everyone else to stay within that bubble with you is an idiotic assumption. It's like people grow all the time, people find out things, and they apply that information to the world. That's how life works.
And that's probably what happened to Casey Hudson. I mean, I would not blame the guy at all if he wants to go off and do his personal projects. Like, if you're working on stuff from a studio, it's a lot of the time it's not your stuff. Casey Hudson was lead designer, so a lot of it was probably, a lot of it probably was, from his mind. But at the same time, if you get an opportunity to do, personal work professionally, God, it's so rewarding.
Why did he tie that kid up?
I don't know why he tied him up.
That just creates so many unnecessary complications to his master plan to tell them that their father's not octopus. At this point, he's officially upgraded to kidnapping, too. And he's threatening him with a cleaver. This should end well. There's that... Oh my god. What were we talking about until I got distracted by the kidnapping scenario playing out before us?
Nah, we were done. Casey Hudson. Case in point. It's good for him.
I would love for the Mass Effect series
Casey Hudson, to
get broken down and analyzed pixel by fucking pixel if need be.
Yeah. You know what I'd really like to see is you could tell there was limitations and also innovations from each installment of Mass Effect to the next. I would really like to see in the future, maybe once things become digitized or we all start playing on Blu-ray discs, I don't know. I'd really like to see a single game that's all three Mass Effects. I'd love to see that.
What would that look like? It would have the Mako, it would have the planet exploration,
yeah.
it would have the smooth combat of Mass Effect 2.
I love the weapon system in Mass Effect 3. I always thought that it would be great to just have personalized variety of how the guns actually work, rather than just numbers. Number crunching. Having it
have the atmospheric music of Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, absolutely. But just keep it more of a consistent thing. Like, there's some story plot inconsistencies. The second one kind of feels out of place as just like and then this happened sort of thing.
Yeah.
Fix that god awful human Reaper design. Maybe just make it a regular Reaper. I thought that was silly. If it looks human because they've been absorbing humans, then goddamn,
why all the Reapers look like scuttlefish?
Exactly. I think it would be really cool to have a duke it out with an actual unfinished Reaper. Anyways, besides the point. And then the ending would actually tie in with everything else, because you would have that ability. You wouldn't be limited by the system having to recognize the data from your past games.
Here's the thing though. If that comes to fruition, would that be the definitive version of the stories, and would that mean that cancels out the experiences of the first 3 games?
It doesn't have to at all. It could exist interdependently. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Okay.
I think
which of the Mass Effect? Let's break down the Mass Effect 3 series, because this part frustrated the fuck out of me when I was playing this game.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about this.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
This is really bad.
It's just horrible controls for this kind of situation.
Yeah.
For everywhere else, it's kind of fine, but for here, it's inexcusable.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mass Effect 1 I love the most because it had the best atmosphere. It had the best music. And in my mind, it had the best kind of storyline.
Yeah, definitely. Saren was a really cool bad guy. Noveria was infuriating though. I hated Noveria. I think it's maybe because I played it 50 times.
Which one's Noveria?
Noveria is the
right?
one.
Yeah.
God damn it, the bugs.
I didn't mind them.
They were so annoying. It's just a lot of the enemy AI in general in Mass Effect 1 was really bad, and the gameplay was much polished. It was polished way better.
Mass Effect 2 has a much more fast pace to it.
I still prefer Mass Effect 3. I think as for combat system, I think Mass Effect 3 is my favorite.
I don't know. Mass Effect 2 had this kind of action movie tone to it.
Yeah, but it felt too far away.
Whereas
from
Mass Effect 3 had this
1.
weird kind of position in between the first 2 games.
Exactly. That's why I think it works better, because the atmosphere of Mass Effect 1, I don't think it would lend itself to more of an action movie type feel that Mass Effect 2 had. If you tried to spread it out between all 3, and make a single game.
And of course, we can't deny that Jennifer Hale did the superior Shepard.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, Mass Effect 4 looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not banking on it to be excellent, but I'm not banking on it to be.
I'll play it regardless
either.
Because the trilogy gave me the best gaming experience of my life almost.
Yeah.
It's very high up there, in terms of contention. But in the original version of this video, before the audio stopped recording, we did a final tribute to Robin Williams.
Oh yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, you magnificent motherfucker.
Yeah.
He'd probably say in his own words.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember him as the genie when I was a kid. That was my favorite.
He brought joy to millions, and a lot of people are saying, why are you mourning his death? And well, he brought joy and happiness to millions. Why would you not mourn something like that? I understand lots of people die every day, and they probably deserve mourning too, but at the end of the day, the world is a much darker place without this guy in it, right?
At the very least, I think this will help spread
awareness
about depression and stuff like that. You saw it all over Twitter, all over TV, and
even Cracked got in on the game.
Yeah,
they wrote a very personal article, and they're usually a humor site, but you can tell they have been heavily influenced by the guy.
Yeah.
So they took his loss personally.
Yeah. So I mean.
But if a guy like Robin Williams can be killed by depression, it's a serious thing.
Absolutely. It's so misunderstood, and people are so used to just the stigma behind it. All this mental illness stuff wasn't around back in my day. It's yes, it was.
Or they'll throw out the old chestnut. Why don't you just get over it?
Yeah,
it's all your fault.
They don't understand that your
brain... That was said to be by my goddamn stepmother. Jesus Christ.
Very personal.
Yeah. Well... Depression is a personal thing that kills people.
Yeah, people don't understand it. It's just as much a sickness as leprosy, your brain is a part of your body and it can get sick too. You can't just do mental gymnastics and hope it goes away. The same way you can't hope your limbs stop falling off if you have leprosy.
Me, I've I battled it enough where I know what my tolerance is.
Yeah.
And I'm actually finally getting through my own little episode of it. Let me tell you something about depression, people. I was crippled by inflammation in my foot, severe pain. I would rather have that every day of my life than depression.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad it can be. So if I find out that anyone I know has said to someone that they should just stop being depressed, or they make fun of their depression,
Yeah.
I'll spend the rest of my life ruining that person, okay?
It's bad.
Anyways,
Ow.
here's a noogie. Here's a noogie.
Ow.
He doesn't take well to noogies, and I'm trying to lighten the mood.
What was that?
Okay, this guy has kidnapped his family. He's nearly killed them by setting fire to them. And it's all solved by a hug.
Everything's solved by a hug, I think.
Hugs solve problems.
Yeah. It's just all you need is love.
Yeah, if a real octopus tried to hug me, I think I'd love the situation before it horribly murdered me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, it's trying to hug me. Oh god, no!
That's good. This game needs to be shorter. I'm just gonna keep saying that.
This video was edited down from 8 hours of footage, okay?
Yeah.
There was more to it that I intentionally left out.
Honestly, if the game was as long as this video is, it would be an excellent game, I think.
Really? Because
I think
we went through some extended stretches in this video where it was just plain bullshit.
Oh yeah, but all I'm saying is that you can't overstay your welcome when your game is only about one concept. Because the one concept can honestly just get really old. Like, yeah.
Oh god. No. No!
What, is that his body? What's that yellow tube that's just kind of like...
I think that's one of his tentacles too.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's just wrapped up. Some discomforting hentai references. Well, that was Octodad, Dadliest catch. Great concept, wasted.
Well, you said it was alright.
It was alright, but it was still wasted.
Yeah.
It's like I brought up earlier in the video how it could have had so much satirical potential, but it just didn't play out that way.
I don't know. Not every game needs to be higher as well, right?
No, I understand that. That's why I love
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 2, because it's great trash, right? Or Super Mario Brothers. That isn't high art, but it is probably the best video game ever made.
Yeah.
One of them, at least.
Right.
Notch. Oh yeah, this was a Kickstarter game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I remember now. All those stretch goals. What do you think of Kickstarter?
Kickstarter? I like it.
Yeah.
It's got its flaws, obviously, but I really like the idea that anyone can just
Fund a game.
fund a game. Yeah, if it looks cool, like you will see that you have the audience for it.
Tigger
Like,
person.
it's great. Point and click adventures are coming back because of Kickstarter.
Yes, and that's a good
cool
thing.
to
It's
see.
like
A lot of stuff. You know what I want to see coming back?
it provides more ingredients for the stew.
3D mascot platformers need to come back. Kickstarter needs to get on that shit. Like, I want to see...
Wait. Think of what you're saying. More
What?
Sega. More Sonic in 3D.
No, I'm not saying Sonic. I'm saying more stuff like Ratchet and Clank, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Croc.
Ratchet and Crank still has games coming
Croc.
out.
If anyone
Croc.
has played Croc,
Croc
I
2.
love Croc.
Croc. Bring Croc back.
Oh god, bring Croc back.
I remember playing the demo for that. There was a demo disc that used to come with the PlayStation,
Yeah.
and I just played that over and over again.
It's so good. I don't know, like...
He's reminiscing about Croc.
I'm actually reading all the Kickstarter people. It's a lot of...
Andy Saya, the Beeler family. Thank you, Jonathan Fagg. I am sorry, but that's your name. Friends, Jan Willem Neiman, I think. We've
So many
degenerated when we're only talking about the names of the people on the screen. I guess that's a good way to exit.
Last 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Nobody's listening.
Well, viewers, we're sorry we couldn't have had more colorful commentary due to the fact that we got cut off. Actually, no, we had colorful commentary this one, didn't we?
It was... yeah. Better than that other time.
Yeah. Now, let us go on to a game that he very much wants to play. We shall see you next time, viewers.
Yeah.
And enjoy whatever break you have from my videos that you can get, because there will be plenty more coming. The apocalypse is nigh. Goodbye.